Hi, and welcome to the Knitting Game and Other Stuff. Come on in.
Scissors and string. Soon it will be.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Knitting Game and Other Stuff. I'm your host Leslie, otherwise known as Pixie Knits out in the Knitverse. Today is June 29th, so this is a post-Knitpocalyptic recording, but we're going to have a little fun. So I recorded an episode before I went to Knitpocalypse, but I never had a chance to post it. So what I'm going to do is, in a moment, I'm going to take a break and go and show the first recording from before I left, and then we'll come back later on and you can follow back up with all the goodness that is the zombie knitpocalypse. So I guess if you want to skip ahead, you can. If you don't want to watch the episode, I know it looks like it's going to be a longer show, but I will make sure that there's a break so you can take a break, go to a different show, or go do laundry, or get a drink, or bathroom, or whatever you need to do, and then you can come back. So, all right, I guess hang tight, and I'll be back with the new stuff here in a moment, okay? All right, so we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully it was quick enough, and you got to see everything you wanted to see. So let's start off this episode with finished objects, since that's kind of where I ended up last time. Maybe you can see what I'm doing now. So what I have is not really a finished object. It's not really a hoe. It's kind of 2/3 of a hoe. I have the pink stripy socks for my sister finished, but I'm missing the heel. I have to put the heel in. So when I knit my socks, I like to have the cuff about the same length as the foot, minus the toe. So I don't do the increases all the way down the toe for the cuff. So as you can see, hopefully you can see, there's the line for the afterthought heel. I'm not doing a true afterthought heel, because the thought of cutting yarn scares the dickens out of me. So I did put in the waste yarn to hold my spot. So this is done out of Deborah Norval's Serenity sock, and it is 50% wool, 25% bamboo, and then 25% nylon. So the heel will go there. So imagine it. Yay, sock, right? So it's a 2/3 hoe. All right. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the trip. So it was a wonderful time. The weather was really great. I got to see a lot of old friends, and I got to meet a lot of new friends. I actually made it there on time this year, so I got in Wednesday evening at about 6 and had dinner with my friend Beagle Mom Knitter, who's my roommate when we go to Minnesota. And it was just a weekend of knitting, talking, knitting, classes, knitting. There was some knitting involved, quite a bit of knitting if you haven't noticed. Then I knit some more, and then we ate. There was a lot of eating involved. So I think most of us, our go-to breakfast spot is the restaurant called Pannenkoeken. Pannenkoeken is a large fluffy Dutch pancake. So we eat pannenkoeken, and when I go to Pannenkoeken, I do not eat pancake. I eat like Eggs Benedict, because when I'm on vacation, for some reason that just screams vacation for me, is Eggs Benedict. So give me the Eggs Benedict with the extra hollandaise sauce. So I took 2 classes. I did a short row class with Josh, who's sort of a knitter, and G-Knitrix Designs. So I did the short row class, which was so enlightening. I learned quite a bit in the class, and it was I kind of understand some things now, which is really good. And then I did an audit, basically, because I hadn't signed up for it, but I'd heard really good things about the previous day's class. It was a sweater kind of, not necessarily class, but it was an information session, basically, on if you're going to knit sweaters, here's what to look for, here's what to do. Here are a whole bunch of different sweaters that you may like to do in the future. And, you know, if you've got boobs and belly, that's her trademark, boobs and belly. If you've got boobs and belly, how to accentuate what you need and kind of not accentuate what you don't. And it's kind of like a compliment to Amy Herzog. So, you know, if you've done any of her Fit to Flatter classes, this is kind of not on the flip side or the other side, but just additional things to think about when you're knitting a sweater, when you're picking a sweater pattern, you know, what to do when and where and how to do it properly, and how to modify things of an existing sweater pattern if you read in Ravelry that it's not good or it needs to be changed. So that was taught by Corey, or I Rock Knits, and I kid you not, she came with 10 of those large tote bins full of every kind of sweater you could ever want. So that was a really educational opportunity too, to just sit there and watch her go through these sweaters and try them on and listen to her philosophy about what a sweater is and what it's supposed to do and what it's not supposed to do. So that was really good. So we had classes, we had knitting, we had food, we had prizes, we had podcasters, we had a marketplace. So I am going to go right into the stash acquisition. And I didn't do a lot of shopping this year, so it's not like I got to break it up into 2 episodes, because I really only bought things from 4 places. So it should be pretty quick. So the first thing I did is when the shop opened, when the marketplace opened, I made a beeline to Leading Man Fiber Arts, because I knew that Steve and Andy were going to have sock blanks and gradient sets. And those were like the 2 things on my list that A, I didn't think I was going to be able to get, and B, I really, really wanted. So I made a beeline there and I scored both. So the one I'm going to show you first is actually the sock blank. And you've seen this one before if you watch Dramatic Knits. So this is the Grotesque Zombie sock blank. And if you can see, I cast on the socks that night. So Saturday night, I cast on a pair of socks. So I'm knitting from this end, and it's a single strand sock blank. There's 2 kinds out there. There's one where the 2 strands are knit together into the blank, so you have matchy socks, or this kind where the string, it's just one and you get a surprise, and they are not going to be matchy, and that's fine. So I'm going to show you this real quick because I am working on it already. I cast this on Saturday. I'm almost to where I need to turn the heel. Another inch or so, but you can see, and I'm in the studio, so if you hear people talking, they're getting ready to do a class. But you can see here the green and the purple, but it doesn't come out like this in the sock. To me, it looks very spring-like. So you got the early green spring here, and it transitions into a purple flower, and then there's these little red flecks here and there. And because the sock blank is knit, in between these spaces where the yarn kind of touches each other, you get like little white spots where the dye hasn't kind of saturated all the way in there. And that is really awesome because it gives you little flecks and pops of not white, it's just not as vibrant as the colors on the surface. So it gives yet another layer and depth of color. So I'm having a blast with these socks. And if you can see the texture, that is because of the blank. So it's very zigzaggy when you pull it out, and this will block out. It'll be fine. And it'll be just like a flat sock. Once I wet it and put it on the blockers, it'll be fine. I've used a sock blank before, and it was the same kind of deal where it was a little textured and a little lumpy and bumpy. But once I got done with the socks and I blocked them out, they were fine. So I'm having a lot of fun. So if he's got any left, I think he had a few left. When they get home and he puts them up in the shop, I would really score some, because they're really fun. Because you don't know what you're gonna get, and it's loads and loads of fun. So let's talk about bags. So this is a cute little bag. This is from Brown Dog Bags. She's Nitroverted on Instagram. It's Renee, so Brown Dog Bags. And this is a cute little bucket bag bowl. So what you do with this is, when you're using it like at knit night, you fold over the top, and it stands up really nicely when you fold over the top, and it's just like a yarn bowl. And me, because I'm on the train, I take the little handle here and I hook it over the cup holder, so I have my bag hanging there for me to knit out of. And if you're walking and you're talking, and you can walk and knit at the same time, you know, you can put it on your wrist like that if you're in the line at the grocery store or what have you. So this was a cute little purchase. It's made out of the decorator fabric. So you've got the one fabric on the outside, the other fabric on the inside, no exposed seams, really awesome construction. And the snap, it's got a little snap. So you've got two little sides that you can work out of when it's closed. It keeps everything nice and neat. And what she suggested too is, if you're working on 2 at a time socks, have a ball in each, and then you can keep your yarn separate and from tangling up in each other. So that's a really great, you know, pro tip of the day. The other bag I got, I pre-ordered, and it's the Silver Shed USA, one of the large bags. This actually might be an extra large, I can't remember. So it's lined with the hashtag fabric, which is really cute. I have 2 inside open pockets. I also have on the outside, I'm sure you can see, it's plastic. It's a shimmery pocket, which opens up. And okay, so happy accident with this one. I can put my cell phone in it with the face of the cell phone out, and it still works. I can double tap the screen and it comes on. I can double tap the screen and it goes off, because I have an LG G3, which you can do that to turn the screen on and off. So that's really handy. I don't even have to take the phone out of the bag, and I can still use it. So that was a happy accident that I learned. So that was good. So that was Silver Shed USA. Back to the yarn acquisitions. So the next thing I picked up from Leading Men Fiber Arts was one of their gradient kits. And this is the Perfection gradient. And this is going to be the soliloquy base. So this is the equivalent of a skein of soliloquy, the big BFL nylon base, or 100% superwash BFL. So it's 657 yards between the 5 skeins. Each one of these is 30 grams each and 130 yards. So I'm either going to do a shawl with these, or perhaps some color work on the yoke of a sweater and on the cuffs. That's what I envision. So that's these, and I think it's a they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So score, and you will see a theme here, because Perfection, it's kind of that teal, kind of a teal color going on. Just wait. All right, so the next booth over was Rite of Color. and I picked this up. This is called Blue Raspberry. It's the Bush Lace Weight yarn. It's 100% silk, and it's a 220 silk. So in this hank, it's 100 grams and it's 1,000 yards. And because she has the weaving weight on here, I don't know if I'll use this to knit with or to weave with. I could definitely use this to weave with. So that is like super awesome. She had another like cobweb lace there, and I was like, that was like 1,400 yards of lace, and I'm like, I'm all about the lace, but not about that much lace. So it's blue and teal, and I've got some lighter parts and darker parts, so it's more tonal. It's not flat, and I wouldn't call it necessarily variegated either. So it's really, really pretty, and it's going to be super shimmery and really, really beautiful. The other thing I picked up at A Riot of Color is a sock blank. Now, it's mostly teals and yellows and greens, but as you can see, here's like a little pop of purple. That'll be like 4 or 5 stitches through it wherever. And I don't know what's on the inside. And look, it's going to be one of those happy accident socks. It's 75% merino, 25% nylon, 100 grams, 463 yards. And it's a single knit sock blank. So again, it's only the 1 string. It's not the 2. So I won't have matchy sock. So, and that suits me just fine. So that is awesome. Got that. All right, so let's go on prizes. So in my goodie bag, I didn't have to buy this. This was in my goodie bag. I scored the Fishnets Strong Heart 2-ply, but this is the self-striping. It's Oof the Zombies is the colorway. 80% superwash, 20% merino, and it's brown and like a mint green and a cornflower blue and a really pretty periwinkle purple and a creamy tan, or kind of like a cream tan, and then there's like maybe a little bit of grayish brown. So everybody was really coveting this one because it's a self-striper, and you wouldn't know it, but it's a self-striper. So that was in my goodie bag. That greeted me on Thursday morning. Let's see. The next one I'm going to do is Marigold Gem. This is my 3rd time around the room at this point. Because after I hit leading men fiber arts, I was like, I'm kind of good. I came, I got what I wanted. Is there anything else that I kind of am curious about? Well, just like I did at Maryland Sheep and Wool, where it was all about the purple, this one was all about like the teal and the green. Have you noticed? So I'm walking around, and Marigold Jen is there with Hobbledehoy, and they are the cutest little ladies you have ever met. And they actually did the 5K with us, and that was awesome. So Hobbledehoy was a little faster than I was. By a little, I mean a lot. But she was booking and she was walking. You can tell she goes walking a lot, because she was doing a good job. And her mom hung back kind of with us, and we were strolling along, and then I fell back a little bit more, and then I picked up and I trotted over the finish line just to make it look good. You know, the last 10 yards, I'm really doing well. Anyway, you see me flipping the yarn around. So I picked this skein up because it's like, wow, I really like that brown, but look, there's that pop of teal there, and it's the orange and kind of golden brown. It's really pretty. I really like Copper Cloud, and this reminds me a little bit of the Copper Cloud in here. And I got a little bit of the purple, and this is called Sidewalk Chalk. And apparently this one was really super popular. People were really trying to score this one. And this is on her BFL silk lace weight, so there's 875 yards of this. And I'm like, well, this is nice, but what else can I do? What can I pair it with? Is there anything here that goes with it? And right next to it is one called Bluegrass. You know, I had to pick it up with me and my fiddle lessons and my husband with his banjo, right? So this screamed me, and this goes so well together. I'm thinking about doing and designing like a stripy kind of tee tank top type of deal with these, because they're each 875 yards. Come on, I would hope that several football fields could wrap around me and cover this body, right? So yeah, so I think these are just absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to work them up together, especially if I design something. So the next thing is my door prize. So the way the ladies do it, everybody gets put into a bucket and they pull names, and every night they pull a few, not all of them, a couple prizes here, and you know, a third. And when they get to the last night, if they still have prizes left over, then they put everybody's name back into the bucket and they start pulling over again. So for the most part, you're pretty much guaranteed to at least win one door prize, if not be one of the lucky few that get two. I only got one, and for some reason, third year running, I've been called the first knight. So, as you may have noticed, in addition to the sock blanks being all of the rage lately, so are these mini skein sets. Everybody's got mini skeins. 3 Irish girls were there at the retreat, they were vending, and they had this thing where they were selling mini skeins by the pound. Like literally 10 pound, or a pound was like $10 or something. So you could fill up your bucket and get however many mini skeins you wanted, and a pound was like $10, and you could buy it by the half a pound or the quarter of the pound. You know, how cool is that? I mean, there's a lot of waste sometimes when you're a dyer, and that's a great way, A, for people to get a little taste of what your product's about without the complete outlay of, say, $30 or $60 or however much it is, right? So, you know, it's a win-win for folks. We want them, the dyers can give them, and I mean, how awesome is that? So, rant over. Ladies had this big tub of, and don't let my bat wings scare you, they had this big tub of mini skeins, and what you did is when you got called, you got to go up there and pick 4, and I think the first and second night it was 4, but they were getting kind of towards the end, and they're like, you guys could take 5. So those ladies really, and I don't think any gentlemen wanted, but the ladies, they really worked out for them. So I was the first one called for this prize. So I'm like, yay! And the yarn is by Swoosh, which I do have a sweater's quantities of Swoosh at the house. Swoosh Fiber Arts. So we got to sit there and tinker and put yarns together and figure out what we liked. She had 2 different bases in the bucket. One was her merino cashmere sock, which is an 80-10-10. And then she had another one that I think was just 100% merino, or it was at least 80% merino and 10% or 20% nylon. Anyway, so I got called, and then they pulled 2 people. So me and this other girl, I don't remember who she was, but we just had the most fun sitting on the floor in the front of the room next to the stage, completely oblivious to what everything else was going on around us. And we were just sitting there trying out different color combinations, seeing what worked, playing around with stuff. And finally, I come out of the deal with these 4 skeins. So it's like a light blue, a darker blue that has some undertones of purple, then this purple, which has some overtones of blue, and then this pink, which is also in the purple. So I'm either going, and I think together Together there's 370 yards because each one of these is an ounce. So it's a quarter skein. So each one of these is an ounce. 4 ounces together is 370 yards. So with this, I don't know if I'm going to do a shawl, like a color blocked boomerang, or if I'm just going to maybe do a little color work with this in a sweater yoke and on the cuffs. So I'm really starting to branch out. That sweater class really did some damage, right? So I'm really getting adventurous, because if I do this in a color work, it'll be with creamed colored yarn, and then I'm going to steek it and put in buttons or a zipper. Alright, so the last 2 purchases are from 716 Knits. Jenna brought Knit Buffalo to Rochester. She brought the truck. It was awesome. If you haven't seen pictures, it is awesome. So it can only accommodate 5 people at a time. So you have to stand there on the stairs waiting. You can see in, you can see all of the yarn, and you're just waiting and waiting, and you're spying things, and you see little pops of color here and there that you want to go after. And for some reason, this one just kept speaking to me. I'm just shouting my name, and I don't know why. I don't know if I like that aqua with the navy blue, something, and there's a little cream or yellow undertone to it. I just love it. So this is 716 sock in the Rudo colorway. I don't know what HXC means on it, but so it's an 80-20, 400 yards. These will most definitely be socks. So lovely, lovely, lovely. And the last but not least is a shawl kit. Josh, sort of a knitter, Geometrix Designs, put out a new shawl pattern right before Knitpocalypse called Typhoon. And it was specifically made with self-striping sock yarn, because Josh doesn't knit socks, but he wanted to take advantage of all these great self-striping yarns out there, but make them work for his aesthetic. And boy, did he ever. The pattern is called Typhoon. And if you don't have it, you should, because it is really an awesome piece of work. So what the deal was is at Jenna's truck, you got the 2 skeins of yarn. So this is not blue and then gray. The gray is one, and the blue and the purple is another. So it's 716 solo. So it's the single ply base, 400 yards, 100% superwash merino, and one color is there were factors. The other color is a clan tartan of that.
Scissors.